Hello and welcome to the Christian Reeve podcast, another episode, another interview. Today I have a very special guest. He is a friend of mine from Estonia. He is an artist, an actor, a YouTuber, and an urbexer. His name is Juhan Rodrik, and I'm very happy to have him here. Welcome to the show, Juhan. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine.
Have you checked out my podcast before? Do you know what to expect, or is this all new?
Yeah, I saw them on YouTube.
Oh, cool! All right, awesome. Well, thanks. Yeah. I mean, obviously, a lot of these things that you're. I mean, I would say like your career as an artist is probably like the main thing that you do, as well as acting. But when I was doing my sort of research of you, there was quite a few things that I discovered that I didn't know about you straight away. So, for example, within your kind of art sphere, you actually sell merchandise on this particular website. I don't have the name of it here, but it's basically like when you search Juhan's name straight away, you find this. So,
Yes.
when did you start selling merchandise, and like, how did you kind of come to this idea of like, okay, in addition to selling my art, I also want to, put my designs on say T-shirts or mugs or stuff like that.
I have done this like maybe 10 years.
Okay, wow, awesome.
And online, I started doing it like in 2015 in larger scale, like this one. I'm using these sites since 2015 or something like that. Previously, I was doing merch myself. I checked out the print shops and made the printing and doing this thing on my own.
That's awesome. Did you sort of have to travel Estonia and do like, I don't know, like exhibition style things in order to promote your stuff, or was it a case of using the internet just to kind of get in touch with people? Like, how did you promote your stuff before you obviously set up a website and set up these online stores?
Ooh. Well, yeah, kind of. I made art shows and
Right.
exhibitions everywhere, and I still do it.
Awesome. What?
But these are I don't have any merch on myself. This is only online now. I previously I had some merch along as well, but I'm currently, if I'm doing an exhibition somewhere, I only put some of the paintings out, but I don't take the merch out because it's only online. I don't have any of the merch.
Do you not think you're maybe missing out on something there potentially? I mean, particularly if you get people come along to the shows and they're familiar with your work, or maybe they just really like what you do and want to buy. Say, okay, let's say I come along and I don't fancy buying a painting, but a mug seems pretty cool. Like, do you never think about that? Maybe.
Well, I did. I had the marks and I had the stuff on my own as well, but it's really hard to make it.
Okay.
So to get the marks made, so it's really not worth the hassle. So
Right.
getting it online only is much more efficient.
Fair play, man. Fair play.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a horrible amount of work to get the merch done on my own.
And I won't ask you like numbers in terms of like costs, but like, is it something that economically speaking is just not viable, or is it just like it's literally just the time and the effort that takes too long?
It's both.
Right.
It's economically not viable, and it's a horrible waste of time as well to produce the merchandise myself. So on the website is actually producing the merchandise and sending them out. So I don't have the hassle
Right.
there at all. So it's completely different.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. Just sort of closing our little discussion on talking about the selling of art. Would you say that you've had like a lot of success with it? I mean, obviously you wouldn't sort of keep doing it if you didn't achieve like a certain amount of success. But like, talk to me about the journey of, obviously going online and then, putting your work on different websites. Because I've noticed on your social medias and just everything that you have online, there's various different places that you can get your work. And it really kind of depends what people are looking for. Because I've noticed some of your stuff is maybe a bit more serious, more like portrait style stuff. Some of it's a bit more kind of out there. And some of it's like more playful, like almost like the sort of things that, I don't know, maybe you might give to like children or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like different kind of audiences, different things. And then I kind of thought that the links that you had online were to cater for all those different things. But yeah, talk to me a little bit about that and your kind of success with it so far.
Well, kind of. Well, it's well, I have a few different lines of work, so it's pretty various. So
okay,
yeah, there's something for multiple audiences. Yeah.
Awesome. And like I said before, like would you say you've achieved like quite a bit of success with it in general? Like, is it? Because I mean, you do a lot of different things in your life, and we'll get to a lot of these different things. But I would say like the first thing that people think generally when they're looking at you is, okay, he's a professional artist first and foremost. So
Okay.
It's kind of like that's how you make your living for the most part. So presumably you would have had a certain amount of success with it in order to continue doing it.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, moving a bit forward, at what age did you sort of realise that you wanted to become a professional artist, and when did you start kind of dabbling and getting into art? When did it all start for you?
Some dabbling. I have done some dabbling and scribbling and doodling and mainly that's pretty much all time.
Okay.
When I was a small student in school, like in grade 5 and 6, and the usual suspect, then I made offensive doodles into textbooks and like turned some textbook portraits into offensive doodles, like with sunglasses and mustaches and joints on them and something.
Right,
Well,
so
the usual stuff.
It kind of starts, because I have to say, like, a lot of the people that I went to school with, if they were an artist, it's always the same story. Doodling, someone messing around. Like, I had a friend who would, during maths classes, just sit there and like make all these different drawings, and they were excellent.
Okay.
But one thing I always noticed is that schools, at least in the UK, were a bit restrictive in terms of art. And, if you wanted to paint a certain way, you had a particular style, they kind of like held you back a bit. Like, they really forced you to do stuff that, like, it's good to learn all of these different things like cubism and, painting with acrylics and all this stuff and sketching. Like, that's great. But like, they don't always necessarily give you a platform to kind of express your own style. So how was it for you growing up in Estonia with regards to art in school? Like, did they promote? Well, go for it.
Well, it's so and so. Some depended on the teacher, of course, as well. Before high school, well, I did also dabble and make my own drawings, and so my art dabbling goes back into the mid-90s. So. But seriously, I started focusing on it in high school. Like, right. Then I took also a high school that was oriented towards art.
So already at that kind of high school age, you're already starting to realize, like, yeah, this is kind of what I want to do. This is going to be my field.
Yeah, kinda. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, that kind of. Go for it. Do you have something else to add to that?
Well, yeah. In as we, in school we had pretty well art orientation, so there was art teachers were really good at it. So they weren't really restrictive or anything. So we went like through the basic styles, and we also tried out different styles that have been made in history. So we tried all different sorts of techniques and styles like cubism and surrealism, and well, we did have some constraints. So they weren't allowing to draw maybe smokers and naked women and maybe some other subjects. They had some taboo subjects, but I also managed to master them. I used all of them, all the taboo subjects, which were not allowed in school, but I did it so well that they still accepted it. So I also broke the rules and got away with it.
Well, I suppose, yeah. I mean, you can't deny someone's talent if they're really trying hard and it's genuinely something. Because, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Like with art, some people look at it and say, oh, that's crude, or oh, that's offensive and whatever. And, you know, the conversations about what is art and what is not art, you know, I mean, you could write entire books and novels about that shit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I most likely ain't universally loved any time. So I think some people will also find me offensive, and some people love me. So I'm pretty sure that the golden ratio is if I have like 50% of people hate me and 50% of people love me. That's pretty much the golden ratio for me, because if nobody hates you, you're not really doing anything valuable.
Couldn't agree more.
You're really mediocre if everybody loves you.
It's just very true. It's very true, particularly with art as well. I mean, I just find it amazing that you could like not have people hate you. Do you know what I mean? Like I've heard people talk about you know, very famous artists in the UK, and more. This is less about the artist and more about the kind of postmodern art people who do like installations and stuff. And some people will be like, you know, like they'll talk about someone like Damien Hirst and be like, he's amazing, he's an innovator, he's incredible. And then other people would be like, he's a lunatic and it's shit and this is not art. And, and it's like, for me, I like that element of like people getting aggravated and angry and like going like, this is not art. This is, what do you mean this is art? Because it exists with everything, in poetry, music, film, you know.
Absolutely, yeah, of course. Like, well, I don't offend anybody for offending sake, but I just do what I feel like doing, and it's coming together, and naturally I will step on somebody and will be loved by somebody else. So it's pretty much guaranteed.
Well, just kind of drawing it to a close on the education side of the things, you studied a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree at the Estonian Academy of Arts, or Eesti Kunsti Akadeemia. So how did this help you, this particular degree, in terms of, you know, your understanding and approach to art? Like, was it valuable to you? Did it shape your professional approach to art? Like, talk to me about that.
Okay. Yeah, of course. It was a lot of fun. Well, I discovered acting in Art Academy.
Oh wow! Okay.
We also had a little vague film course there, so we had to make a short movie, and from idea to DVD. Doing our own filming and lighting and stunts and acting and whatever, and there I discovered acting for myself in there. But well, otherwise, well, it was kind of a fun time. Usually, I don't quite uh, I don't quite value the degree as anything in art related thing. It's more like important to do the art than have some sort of a degree about it. I don't
Okay.
see how it's supposed to work because it's not a corporate world or anything. Degree is very much important in corporate world,
Right.
but not really in art world, which is pretty vague and more like entrepreneurial world,
Well,
and
okay.
it doesn't really count as a degree. But well, it was a fun time doing stuff and trying out some stuff and learning some stuff and.
Okay, well,
Uh,
given that you've kind of laid that out right there, like, what was your purpose for doing that degree then? Because I mean, many people could make the argument that you didn't need to do the degree. You know, you could just go straight into doing, just making art. Pursuing your
what
passion. So, like, what was the kind of thing that made you think, yeah, I need to do this degree?
well, I wasn't focusing on the degree. I was focusing on my own art.
Right.
The focus was shifted. So the degree wasn't the goal for me. Making my art and learning was my focus.
Right. Okay. So it was about that, increasing your knowledge and understanding of
Yeah,
art and
yeah,
stuff.
exactly, exactly.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, before we get to acting, I just want to ask you one kind of final question about art in general.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you can interpret this any way you want, but I thought I would go down the deep route because, just like any other form of creative expression in life, there is a deeper level. So, what does art mean to you? Like, if you had to, explain to
Well,
someone like what how it appeals to you, maybe on a deeper level. Or, yeah.
well, it's a little bit vague. I don't have a really concrete answer on that one.
That's number one. By the way, for those who don't know, I'll get to this, but Juhan likes to make a lot of jokes, especially about concrete. And if you've ever watched our Urbex exploring series together, then you'll know why he says this. So that's
Oh,
number
yeah,
one.
yeah. That's very simple because we were exploring bunkers and concrete was the main ingredient of a bunker.
Fuck's sake. I should have expected that this was gonna, infiltrate the podcast at some point. But I mean, we're only 17 minutes in at this point, so I'm impressed. you held out for a bit before you got there.
Well, yeah, it's like, yeah.
Okay, well, all right. Let me maybe break down this question a bit better. For you, is art something that's like just a job, or is it like something that you feel very strongly about? Because I don't know. For me, when it comes to things like creating music, acting, like I feel it on a very personal level. It's deep. I tend to reach into, find things within myself, within my own soul, whatever. Like ideas can come from anywhere, but a lot of the time, I guess the best ideas come from deep within, and trying to relate
Yeah.
to people on a deeper level. So in that sense,
Yes.
what does art mean to you?
Well, I don't have one concrete answer to that, unless I make a concrete statue, which I made in art school. We had a course of concrete sculpture.
For fuck's sake.
So we were working with concrete, and we had some pretty concrete results on that. But there are many different meanings. Some meaning is like I process something that is coming out of my fantasy. I'm mainly working based on my own fantasy. So doing art as a job when someone else is directing me, well, I can't do that.
Right.
It doesn't really work at all. It only works as my own personal fantasy, and I make something out of that.
Okay.
So as a job, it doesn't work at all.
Mhm.
But it's also sort of an entertainment level, and it's also decorative. So there are like many sides to it. It doesn't have just one, and it's a combination of something. I add something like a challenge to think into it. So every artwork is made as a thinking challenge as well. So it doesn't usually have specified meaning by me. There's also an important meaning, whatever will form into the audience, what the person who looks at it thinks about it. So that's a part of the meaning as well, which I intentionally may have not put into it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's kind of what I expected, but yeah, no, thanks for that. Well, talk to us a little bit about your creative process, like when it comes to just typically, you painting and like getting an idea for a painting. Like, do you just randomly have bouts of inspiration? Does it come from maybe, I don't know, like TV shows or things you listen to where you just get an idea? Is it the sort of thing that you wake up randomly at 2 a.m. and you're like, oh, fuck, I got an idea, I'm going to go paint? Like, talk to me about the creative process and what steps kind of lead you to, the easel.
Okay. Usually taken steps. If I don't take any steps, I don't get to the easel. Well, it's not always the same. Sometimes all of these you named are the options. Sometimes I do lose sleep at 2 a.m. and figured, what the fuck am I gonna do now? And then, I got a brainwave. I think I'll paint a pink horse.
Right.
Yeah, that may work. And sometimes I see something or a film or TV show, and sometimes it leaves some sort of a residue into my fantasy, and sometime later, as I'm processing it, it will turn out into an artwork some sort, or gets to into a painting or something. So it's these are various. Sometimes I'm just thinking about something, or listen to music, or listen to an audiobook, or yeah, it's pretty various.
Have you ever, because I've heard about this with art, especially some of the more classic artists of like the 60s and 70s in America and such, that sometimes they would dabble with like certain drugs and stuff in order to get into a particular state of mind where they could paint more surrealist art and such. Have you ever done something like that, or is it all just strictly being I don't know, I say sober is the right word, but like, have you done that? Have you experimented with drugs whilst painting?
No, I haven't.
Fair enough.
I haven't even painted being drunk or something. So pretty much I have used nothing.
Right. Okay. No, cool. I just thought I would throw that question out there just because I've read about that in, like I said, with like many famous artists, and obviously every artist has their own approach and style and such, and some artists only exclusively paint while under the influence. So it's, I don't know, it's interesting concept to me.
Yeah, it doesn't. I haven't tried it, substance use or abuse in any sense isn't my thing at all.
Okay, fair play, man. Good for you.
Yeah, I don't even care about drugs, so I've tried some, but that's about as far as I take them. I don't know. I don't need them.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, fair play. With regards to art, just in general, what are your main goals and aspirations for art? Like, what? I don't want to give me a 5-year plan, but ultimately, is there any like major goals, things that you want to achieve in your art career, things that you're pursuing or like kind of building up to? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, I have a plan to get 15 minutes of painting.
What do you mean?
No, that was a joke.
That went over my head.
Well, yeah, I don't have such a concrete plan on that,
That's number
uh,
two.
but I may work with concrete sometime. So
Okay, you actually being serious now that you'd like to work with concrete in your art, or are you just taking the piss? Like, on a real.
well, art is kind of an improvisation,
Hmm.
so I don't. It's really hard to make a plan for painting,
Right.
or any art related thing. Well, I can set a timetable for exhibition or something. This has a time schedule, but I don't have a time schedule in art. Uh, it doesn't work.
Hmm.
There Every artwork comes together like just the way it does. I can't plan for it really.
Well,
It
that's fair enough. I mean, but I guess my question was less about the scheduling and stuff like that, but more about like, um, like career goals. I guess I know art isn't necessarily like a career path. I mean, it's up for debate and stuff, but like, or it's like less conventional. Let's use that word. That's better.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but
yeah.
but yeah, but like every artist, I imagine has goals like, I don't know, I want to win this particular award, or I want my art to be showcased in this exhibition. Is there anything like that you're kind of targeted that's in your sights, and you're like, that's what I want next?
Okay. Well, yeah, showing art to audience. Well,
Hmm.
that's definitely a constant goal that I'm working around.
So like increasing your audience generally, just getting
Oh,
as many
yeah,
eyes
yeah,
on it.
definitely.
Hmm.
So that's a goal where I look for opportunities to put art out and to have it seen, because it doesn't serve any purpose when it's behind my closet or something.
Right. Fair enough. Well, actually, let's talk about your art show for a minute. Is that kind of one of the reasons why you set up your art show? And I'll just put a little bit of context here for the listeners at home. So basically, does this art show on YouTube where he interviews, or he has like an interview style. I guess you could say talk. It's a talk show. It's a talk show.
Yeah, it's a talk show, but it's not an interview.
Yeah, I don't know why I use that word. I mean, I guess in my mind, it's like whenever two people in a room, it's like an interview, but it's not in any way like an interview. But yeah, the premise of it is that various people come onto Johan's show and they pick a random painting out that he's painted from his art studio, which I actually have pictures of. I've been to his art studio, and it's just crammed full of just tons and tons and tons of artworks and paint. It's great. If you love art, then
Yeah,
his studio is really fun. So if you're in Estonia and you're into art, then I recommend getting in touch with Juhan. but um, but yeah. Anyways,
absolutely.
yeah. So like obviously you kind of sit down and the guests pick out the art, and then they basically talk about their interpretation of your work, and you kind of
Yeah,
maybe guide them and say, yeah, I thought this about it, or I was in this mindset when I did it. But it's mainly about that guest and their particular interpretation. So
yeah.
yeah, with that show, was that kind of the main purpose behind creating that? Was to just get awareness about the show and your artworks, and presumably leverage that into like trying to get them sold, or just showcased? Like, what was the reasons behind starting that show?
Well, yeah. The goal of that is to create like audience and art relationship
Hmm.
that it's completely okay to look and think about artworks, and also to like have your own thinking about it.
Right, right. And what do you enjoy most about doing your art show?
Well, sometimes to get some surprising interpretations by that I didn't plan, or if somebody has something completely different, which may not tie into any of my intention, then that'd be an interesting surprise.
Yeah, no,
The,
I definitely felt that way. I remember when, because I've actually appeared on Juhan's show at least 10 or 11 times, I believe now. And
well, it should be 10.
10, is it?
I
Okay.
think, yeah.
And you can find all of these on Juhan's YouTube channel. Don't worry, I'll include a link to. Actually, I have a playlist on my channel actually that's full of all these videos. So I'll link that in all the links afterwards. But yeah, no, I mean I think it's a great show. I've said this to you in person that I think the concept has legs, and I don't actually recall ever having seen this kind of format before. I'm sure it exists in some shape or form somewhere out there, but I don't know. It's the first time I ever did anything like it, and I really dug that idea of being able to say to you, you know, hey, yeah, this is what I see, and then you're like, huh, I never would have guessed that because I was thinking something completely different when I did this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a discussion based thing, and it's pretty important to have independent thinking on a guest part as well.
Right. Exactly,
to participate on the show. So that's a really main requirement for the show guest.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's switch things up a little bit and move away from that for a bit. And I'm just going to ask you some random quickfire questions on various things I found out about you, which I didn't actually know until I did my research on you. So,
okay.
Obviously, for those who don't know, Juhan is a friend of mine, and we've done various projects together, which we'll get into. And I've briefly mentioned already. But when I do my research, I always approach it the same way, regardless of whether or not I know the person. And I just found these random things online, and I was like, huh, okay, that's interesting. So, yeah, talk to me a little bit about your connection with Walthein Kierkatte, because as I understand, it has something to do with sailing and survival techniques. It's something that you're involved in. I found this on a profile of yours somewhere.
What? I didn't understand. What did you say?
Is it Walthein Kierkatte?
Walthein Kierkatte.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that was a boating school I underwent.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, well, I learned motorboat driving there.
Awesome. And was that just as for fun, like just a fun pursuit, or did you have any more, I don't know, work-related plans with that? Like, how come you got into that?
Well, it's my personal interest. I like boating and seagoing a lot, so I decided to learn it on deeper level, and I also got a driver's license from there.
Okay, awesome. Wow, I learned something new. So talk to me a little bit about your volunteer work with, and I hope I don't butcher this, MTÜ Isate Laste Heaks. So I'm just going to explain what they
Close
do.
enough.
Close? Okay. Well, you say it. Say it how it's originally intended to be said.
Isate Laste Heaks.
Beautiful. Okay, and as I understand, you have a sort of positive role model, or you are a positive role model for kids who might not have like a father figure in their lives.
Yes.
Like it was a pretty interesting concept I saw. I've never seen anything like this before.
Yes.
So yeah, talk to me a little bit about that volunteer work, how you got into that. Yeah, just tell us about that.
Well, it's it is a volunteer work, and we're working with children who don't have father.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do have father, but they don't have father in their life. So,
right.
Otherwise, you don't get born if you don't have father. but they don't have a father at home. So
right.
these are children who are been or living with a single mom, or their father is dead or something like that. So we're doing it it's educational thing a bit. It's event thing and activity thing as well. So we do stuff, and we're going to have an archery event this month now, pretty soon.
Oh wow!
So
Okay.
I have also done sport related stuff and art related stuff with the children as well, and we do have some other people, like famous Estonian actors, and some others who like to pose as role models as well. So we make meetings like those.
Wow, that's really cool. I really dig that. Well done on you for being involved with something like that.
Yeah, I started to get involved with that in 2015 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been doing it a while then. That's really good. Awesome. I mean, it's a good kind of gateway, I suppose, for those kids in terms of understanding that, you know, how they can get into things in the future, and you know, just getting early exposure to those things is really positive too.
That too.
So let's bring it back to acting. Now, obviously, we know how you got into it and kind of what initially inspired you. But do you have any like particular goals you want to achieve with acting? Because obviously, me and you have acted alongside each other in a lot of short films and adverts and stuff. That's how we originally met, was on the set of the short film Fallen Avenger. And I did remember you being dressed as like a druid of some description, and I remember you giving me your business card.
What was that? I lost some connection. There was a moment of silence. I don't.
Oh, right. So
I didn't get what you said at all.
Okay, I'll just repeat that. So basically, I was explaining how, well, originally how we first met, you know, on the set of Fallen Avenger, and you know, just how you were dressed in this kind of druid outfit thing, and you gave me your business card, and I was pretty impressed by what I saw. I was like, this he does a lot of different things. But I guess my question to you is, you know, we've acted alongside each other in a lot of different things. You've done a lot of short films, TV adverts, you know, all sorts of things. You've been in films as an extra and such. What is your do you have any goals with acting, or like what's the kind of end goal with acting for you?
I like acting. It's like an interesting activity to. It's also a great inspiration for my art, because I also craft stuff, and I like expressing, like playing roles and something like this. So it's for me, it's kind of a component to my visual art.
There's a lot of crossover between acting and art, like for instance, like artists working on set designs and stuff like that. Have you ever been approached by any companies to produce art for films or TV shows or anything like that?
No.
Maybe that's something you can do in the future.
Well, I'm kind of dabbling with special effects, and I craft something for a special effect or something, like where I'm working on a movie. For Õiglus, I also showed a few possible special effects, and I also craft something like that. So
yeah. So for those who don't know, Õiglus is an Estonian independent movie that Juhan acted in last year, I believe. And,
yeah, we're making a sequel.
Yes, I saw, actually. Congrats for that, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you had like a fixed role in that and everything. Talk to us a little bit about the experience of that, because that was, you know, obviously it's Estonian only, independent movie. You know, independent movies have a different look and feel compared
we have English subtitles as well.
Awesome. Wow.
The DVD has been translated.
Fantastic. That's great news. But like, talk to me about your experiences on that set. Like, did it differ to other films that you've done or appeared in? Like, how was that experience for you?
Well, it's a lot of fun.
Insightful.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun,
Mm,
but it's like well, there are, that's a non-professional movie,
okay.
so we have a little bit uh, more uh, more professional people uh, connected to us in a sequel than we had earlier, and
Okay.
we have more experience, but we're pretty much all self-learned doers there who
Mm.
do something, and no, we are all amateurs
It's pretty cool
in that
actually.
sense.
Like I was tracking all of the Estonian media around that film, and the first installment, and it did really well. I mean, you got cinema screenings. It's
Yeah.
been shown on Estonian TV
Yes.
prominently. There was a documentary made about it.
Yes.
Just all sorts of things. It did really,
Well,
really well.
yes, it is also a special movie because it's an action movie.
Mm.
And Estonia don't have action movies like that. So it's a
Ah.
mold breaker movie as well.
I was wondering why it was getting so much attention. I mean, like,
Yeah, that's the main reason why, because it breaks the mold of an Estonian action movie.
oh, there you go. I learned something new. Fantastic, fantastic. Changing it up a bit, what is it about acting that you like? That you've said that you enjoy acting, but what were the particular things or qualities about acting that you enjoy?
Well, playing a role or doing interesting tasks, like all various tasks. Every role is a little bit different,
Hmm.
so I don't have the same thing all over again.
Hmm.
So it's I've been doing it for 10 years or something. So it's pretty much my favorite kind of a job as well. I don't have
Mm.
any other job as a job that I have done this long.
Well, continuing this theme of acting being like a job, obviously, jobs you typically get paid for. And one thing that I noticed when I was doing a lot of acting in Estonia is that you rarely, as an Estonian extra in a film or a music video or anything like that, you rarely get paid. And I took exception with that. I thought that, it's one thing if you have a very short piece where you're maybe just sticking around for a couple of hours and you do a bit of work for free to get some experience. That's one thing, or just for the passion and pleasure of it. That's fine. But when you're doing 12-hour days or more consecutively, maybe a week's worth of filming, and you don't even get like some symbolic pay. I mean, I kind of take exception with that personally. I don't think that's really acceptable. But what are your thoughts on the fact that that's kind of the case at the moment?
Well, I have no idea where did you act. Because well, there are some unpaid ones as well that accept volunteers. But
Mm.
if it's interesting project, I also do a volunteer work. But usually, I'm paid for the role.
Okay, all right.
Well, yeah, except for Õiglus, there's we are doing it our own. So I'm more also a sponsor of the movie.
Okay.
I am also one of the sponsors in the movie. So if I'm making a student movie, then absolutely, it's also a volunteer work.
Mm.
But if I'm on a commercial or on a music video or on a film project, it's usually paid
Yeah.
variously. It's depends.
That
Some
that
commercial are actually highly paid, so they are all different.
that's more what I mean as well. Because like student short films, like it's obviously fine that they can't pay you. They're students. They've got no
Yeah,
money.
definitely.
Yeah.
I don't expect them.
Right. Exactly. And it's helping them out and such. But I don't know. I always kind of did take exception to the film companies or TV studios that wouldn't pay you for doing that stuff because it's grueling. I mean, even okay, maybe you're not like a main prominent role in a film or whatever, but like even being an extra can be tiring and present difficulties and such.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of the things that I did last year in particular there were some really difficult days. Sometimes, like I said, you'd be on a set for 12 hours or more consecutively for like 2 weeks straight. So, you know, if I hadn't have been paid for something like that, like I'm mainly talking about Tenant here, but you know, I can't imagine doing that. I mean, I think I still would have done it actually for free, because originally when I applied for that particular one, I was just like, oh, this would be cool. It's a Hollywood movie, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think like after kind of getting into it, I was a bit like, huh, okay, this is, yeah, you need to pay people for this. This is a bit ridiculous.
Well,
Go on.
yeah, I get it. I get it. But there are, yeah, some roles are unpaid and some are
Mm,
paid. So I have done both,
right.
and most of them I have applied to have been also paid. So especially when they're coming from casting agencies and they're not even extras, they are something like episodes or
Mm,
something else. So I do have characters. I don't have only extras. The extra roles are the most typical ones that are advertised, but I'm not aiming for them. I sometimes I do an extra role, and then there on set I will get connected with somebody who actually finds me suitable for something else. So
mm-hmm.
I have many occasions where I have volunteered for a free role, and from there I met somebody who is making a paid role. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
developed into something else. So it's so and so. Sometimes it's a volunteer role, but I end up getting paid.
Nice, nice.
So it depends completely.
Bringing it back to art again, because I've got a couple more questions for you with that
Yeah,
sphere.
go ahead.
Many artists tend to listen to music when they paint. Do you listen to anything when you're painting, or do you do it in silence? Like, what's your kind of process when you're painting?
Sometimes sometimes I'm listening an audiobook or something.
Oh, okay, all right. Would you say that it has like a profound effect on your art, or does it not make a difference? Like, is it like background noise to you, or does it like motivate you? Like, what's the influence of the music on your art?
Depends on the book,
Okay, all right.
which kind of book I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I listen to music. It depends. It's sometimes I do both. I one part of I listen to music and one part I listen to book, and so on. It's uh, maybe it sometimes influences with something. I haven't really made statistics of how much I painted the song subject up.
It was a 67% ratio in terms of.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't made the statistics on that, but
Right.
sometimes I have painted stuff inspired by songs, and I have listened to music sometimes all the time of painting, and
Mm.
sometimes I have listened to a book all the time. So it's works for me as a uh, double task. Like I
Mm.
paint and I also learn at the same time. So I can listen to the book, and I can also get the painting done. So it's two things at the same time. And usually, if I take a book, it's some sort of a textbook or something. I don't read literature, and
Mm.
I don't listen to literature books as well. It's usually some sort of a textbook.
Okay. All right. Cool. It's an interesting insight. I never would have expected you to be listening to audiobooks. I mean, for me, when I'm doing creative stuff, a lot of the time it does depend on the activity, but I find it to be like distracting if I'm trying to really concentrate. But if I just need something on in the background to like as a kind of like to guide me or something, then yeah, it's nice to
Well,
have certain
Uh,
types of
well,
music.
yes, depends on the kind of work. If I'm trying to write the text and listen to the audiobook at the same time, I
Right.
would end
Yeah.
up getting nuts. So,
Would you
but
please
if I,
stop interrupting me? God damn it.
yeah, exactly. But if I'm painting a picture, then it's I can easily do a visual visual work, or I can stitch something or do something like that. It's also a visual or physical work. I can easily do it with listening at the book at the same time. So if it's a different media, then it's okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing with that. Switching it up again, just like me, you work a lot. I guess one could say you're a bit of a workaholic. And I've been, like I said to you before, I've been to your home. It's one whole art studio that's kind of primed for art at any time. You can work at any time. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to like specially set it up or go to a specific place. It's like it's your home and it's your studio.
Well,
but like, how often on average do you spend working per day? Like, do you have like restrictions and limits on that? Do you kind of just go with the flow? Like, how do you deal with that? Like, how many hours do you often work?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't measure it in time. I measured it in finished painting. I don't measure it by hour.
Okay.
So I don't have an hourly rate or something. But I usually paint on days that end with Y.
Ho ho. Okay, but like in terms of when you're actually painting, because that kind of implies that it could be either really short or really long. Like you said, it always depends on the painting itself.
Yes.
So do you kind of, because I know sometimes when I'm working on things, particularly when I'm head buried in a project, I forget to eat, or I kind of ignore all of these things that I normally should be doing because I'm just really eager to get that thing finished, and I've got like a drive and a motivation to complete it. Is that kind of your process too? Like, do you get like really obsessed with it and motivated to finish it, or do you kind of take regular breaks and like talk to me about that?
Kind of. Sometimes I'm sometimes taking a break, but my focus is on finished paintings. So getting the work done.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's a focus. But sometimes I do take a break, and sometimes a break time is a great time to get the formation on your thoughts on the thing. So you take a little bit of rest. I go out on a walk or something, usually sometimes at night or regardless of the time. I walk and I figure out something, how to work with it. And then I'll stretch my brain out a little bit.
I'm the same, actually. I think there's a lot to be said for doing that, especially when you get, because I do this where I work really hard for a couple of days and then I just need like to go out and exercise, I don't know, play basketball, have a long walk, like same as you. I feel like it's really good for you physically, mentally, and for your creative process as well. You often come back and kind of come with fresh ideas or like,
exactly.
It just like puts you in a good mood, doesn't it? It's
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes I walk and sometimes I have a snack in between, and or sometimes I do both and then I'll come back.
Just talking just randomly about sort of your personal time and such. What do you like to do, in your free time when you're not painting, you're not doing work? Like, what kind of things do you like to do just to kick back and relax and such?
Walking outside.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so
that's the walking outside. Yeah, it sounds pretty simple, but it usually ain't.
Okay.
Yesterday I had a walk of some sort of maybe 40 kilometers or something.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's less than a marathon run.
Yeah.
Slightly less. It's like 95% of a marathon run.
Yeah, it's definitely not a stroll, is it?
Yeah, that's why I went to scout out a few abandoned places, and I went through nature, and that's right. Sometimes the walk gets carried away, but when I walk around, then it's like a walkabout. I figure out my ideas, and I also sometimes forget what I know and figure out something new.
Mm.
And also discover some places and sites in the process. So I ended up walking by the bunker we visited one time. So
Right.
I figured, oh, I'll make a picture of it for you.
So yeah, I mean, you've obviously helped us segue into the next question. Yeah, you like to explore abandoned places, which I love to do too. Some people refer to it as urbexing, which
Yes.
is
Yes.
short for, or an abbreviation of, urban exploring. So there you go, you've learned something new.
I never thought of that.
Oh really? Oh yeah,
Never.
that's apparently. I saw the term in like American explorers. They sometimes like use this tag, and I was like, what is that? And I googled it, and I was like, oh yeah, makes sense, makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, talk to us a little bit about when you got into urban exploring, and what do you enjoy about it? Why do you keep doing urban exploring?
Well, sometimes it's not urban. Sometimes it's outside of the city, quite far. Like,
Oh, okay, yeah, but that's just like a blanket term, really. Do you know what I mean? I guess just exploring in general, like abandoned places. Like, what intrigues you to continue doing that, or like what interests you about doing it?
well, sometimes it's pretty fun. I can find something. Sometimes I can find an old thing or something. Sometimes I enjoyed graffiti or a broken wall or something, and I gather photographs and video material from it, and I also keep an eye out for them to get the location. So sometimes it works as a serves me as a location hunt as well.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome.
These places are pretty fun. I There's multiple ways. I visually like it. I like to explore them. I like to find something, or I like history as well. So I'm wondering what's the history of them. Usually, I can figure out by the composition of the building.
Mm.
When it's done, is it made by Soviets, Nazis, or Imperial Russians, or is it something else?
I gotta say, I love the historical part of it too. Like many of those places that we explored together when we did our exploring videos together, I just was so blown away by the history and how old these places were, and sometimes like how well intact they are, because often these places are torn down, destroyed, and such. But sometimes they're not, and like you said, sometimes you find these gems, these little things that people
Yeah,
leave
exactly.
behind. It's incredible. It really is. Oh yeah, thank you for sharing that, man. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
Let's switch it up again and let's bring it back to YouTube, because you mentioned it very briefly, or I think I mentioned it very briefly. But anyway, what made you decide to start a YouTube channel? Because your YouTube has a lot of different things. Obviously, it's a showcase for your art. You like to do like little skits. Obviously, it's the home of your art show.
Yeah.
You do a lot of very interesting videos on there that show the process of creating certain artworks or painting styles. You do a lot of stuff with like swords and knives, which is pretty cool. So yeah, just talk to us a little bit about what made you decide to kind of start this YouTube channel.
Short answer, I don't remember. I started it so long ago.
Right.
Long answer, I make videos about the main aspects of my life. So it's an art channel, it's a exploring channel, and
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of a mixed channel. But my crafting and artworks and other activities are represented there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of my different sides. So they tie together in one channel.
Do you have any particular goals that you want to achieve with YouTube, or is it just like another avenue for you to advertise yourself?
I don't have a certain goal for YouTube, but
Okay.
yeah, it's like an introduction of me, and it's like uh, an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't specify it as an advertisement or something, but it may work as it as well.
Excellent. Okay. And yeah, well, what are the key things that you like doing with YouTube that you do differently elsewhere? Like, why do you keep making content for YouTube? What's the appeal?
I didn't get it.
Oh, why do you enjoy creating content on YouTube or for YouTube?
What?
Why,
What was that?
so why do you like to create videos for YouTube? What do you like about it?
Well, I like making videos, so it works fine with YouTube.
I can imagine, yeah. Has it taught you a lot about things like video editing or filming or anything? Like, have you learned through that, or would you say?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, awesome.
There's a lot of learning curve, and well, I'm probably learning it forever. I'm nowhere near perfect. I'm doing something, but I always figure out something how to make it better. So I make something else. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I usually get some of my art projects or crafting projects or something recorded, so I put them up there, and some thoughts and some blogish things, and so yeah, it's like a media outlet for me.
Excellent.
Well, it should be a social media or something.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like I said before. It's another way to advertise yourself first and foremost. But
Well, yeah. There's a fun fact. Did you know that YouTube was intended originally intended as a dating site for making introduction videos?
I did not know that. Wow.
For the very first video on YouTube is that sort of a video. So the first intent was that.
Hold on. No, that's wrong. The first video on YouTube was like some random. It was the original owners of YouTube basically going to the zoo or some shit. Apparently.
What? Well, yeah, that is in a zoo. If you check out the video, if you check out the documentary about YouTube, it's there.
Oh wow! Okay.
I checked the documentary about YouTube one time where the facts of it are. So it was a really fun fact. I never would have guessed that, but it was surprising. But it was a zoo video. Yeah, that part is right.
Jeez, so a zoo video and a dating video. Oh, hang on.
Yeah. The guy was filming the introduction of himself in the zoo.
He's like, you know, I'm an animal person, blah blah blah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's actually incredible. I didn't even know that there was a YouTube documentary, so I've learned something new there. That's pretty cool. But yeah, anyway. With us kind of drawing this podcast interview to a close, do you have any particular upcoming projects that you want to kind of plug or, you know, advertise to you know, everyone that knows you or to people maybe that don't know you? And or do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us? You know, now's your time to plug yourself. Please go ahead.
Like some immediate plans or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe is there any particular, I don't know, are you doing any art exhibitions anytime soon? Is there any special videos maybe that you're gonna do for YouTube, or any big things that you're gonna be acting in, like, you know, just projects?
Oh yeah. I'm acting in something, but I have some. I don't have anything concrete lined up, so
that's number 3.
And but I do have a few potential show guests in schedule in sometime near future. But when I'm gonna get something done with them, I don't know. But it goes like a flow. Every guest comes as they can.
Right,
so
yeah.
It's like I can't tell you that I will have a new video tomorrow. So
That's fine. I mean, it's kind of the
But
same. It's the same with my podcast, to be honest. There's no schedule to this. It's just
oh yeah,
as and
absolutely.
when.
Like
Yeah.
I don't do anything scheduled on YouTube. I do whenever I get the video done. Then I'll put it up.
Yeah, fair play. Fair enough. Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much, Juhan, for agreeing to appear on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
you know,
you're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun
Of course.
for me. And I learned a lot about you as well that I didn't know.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah,
good.
definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
To everyone listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you're consuming the Christian Reeve podcast, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your support. More to come. Much more to come. And to anyone that's listening that maybe would like to appear on the show, please get in touch. I'm always open. I would love to have you on the show. I love everything about this. You know, I say this all the time, but I love researching people, learning about people, talking to people. It's great. It's fun. I want to keep doing it. So just approach me and let's make it happen. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to the Christian Reeve podcast. And until next time, I bid you adieu.